This episode is brought to you by Explore Yellowstone magazine, the premier guide to Yellowstone National Park. Grab the latest issue before your next adventure in any gateway city or order a copy online at the link in the episode description. All right, we're talking about the new Arbor at the American Indian Hall today at Montana State University on campus. I am with Riley Rivers, the owner of Rivers Landscaping, Meredith Hecker, PhD. She is the department head here and associate professor of Native American Studies, and Jake Berger, project manager at Blanton Contracting. Thank you guys so much for joining me to talk about the Arbor.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Let's start with this. What is an Arbor?
I'll jump in there. So traditionally when you come together and you do a gathering, you construct something in order to kind of cover you. And so this has come about really through, I would say, Native American powwows. So there's an arbor that we have that it contains all the people and then a dance floor. And this is, what has come through basically time and space for us to maintain our heritage and our culture.
And it's similar to this physical structure that's here now?
So this, I would say, is almost like a deboned arbor. So we have what you see, it looks just like an arbor. And some of them are open like this, and some of them are closed off so that they have like a wall in the back, especially because in Montana, I don't know if you know this, but it gets windy.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah. And so really what you see is basically a part of an arbor, one that would go all the way around.
Okay.
And so that was the idea of the building, was that this was the back space for everything.
All right. And Jake, how many arbors have you built?
One.
This is the first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Other than the one, in my backyard for the hooper for my wedding. So
Got it. So some experience.
Very little. Very little.
How did it go putting this in?
It was a pretty smooth process. The design was very, very well done. And just being able to talk with the users and the architect in collaboration with, especially Riley, one of our key trade partners in this. Just that communication up front as far as what the design intent was enabled us to really make the material selections and construct it in a way that met that.
Okay. You feel the same way about it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We, it's a really tight space, and so we did all of the flagstone and the fire boulder and, of course, the plantings. So any of this had to get constructed in getting into a really tight space, but we didn't break any concrete when we did it. And all in all, just being able to coordinate with Blanton on having certain stages and being able to get the prep done, knowing when we knew to do the flagstone and have everybody else come in. And yeah, it honestly went very smooth for how many moving pieces there are that went into it.
Yeah. And how have people reacted to it so far?
Favorably.
Okay.
Yeah. So students, we had our grand reveal on Monday. And students are really eager to use the space. So eager that we don't have our SOPs in place yet for the fire pit, for example.
Still figuring it out.
Yeah, so they're wanting to be here. And even when the walls, so to speak, the fence, when that came down, people were in here immediately. And we kind of snuck in even as the fences were coming down. We had some Maori that came over from New Zealand.
Nice.
For about 10 days, and so it was really, really special to be able to show them this space right off the bat.
And how do you see this space being used? As a gathering spot, a teaching space, a spiritual space?
I think all of the above.
Okay.
Yep. So we really want not just our Native community to come in here, but we also want the campus community as well as just our larger greater Bozeman and Montana community. So this space is definitely large enough that we can accommodate multiple events. And I would really like to see the students use it and utilize it for like American Indian Council. They're a student organization, nonprofit here that we host, as well as any of the other departments across campus. And the teachers and the professors that come into our building who teach, sometimes there's days when it's, hey, it's so beautiful outside, why don't we go outside? And now they have a space to be able to do that.
What about when the snow starts to fall?
Good question. Probably not going to be holding class. But yeah, so during the winter time, it'll probably definitely be slower.
Yeah.
And the fire pit, I think, is a really great addition to this, because then they have a place where they can come and at least gather and be warm. But yeah, the winter time, I think, is gonna, like across Montana, gonna be difficult.
Yeah.
To be hosting anything.
So it was this project involving the department and the campus and construction and landscaping. How does that collaboration process work, and did you agree on everything all the time?
So, initially it starts out as an idea, right? And that started with the inception of this building, back in 2005.
It was a while ago.
It was a long time ago. So they have brought this vision for a couple decades now.
Wow.
The initial building was built and completed in 2021, and unfortunately, the budgeting at that time didn't allow for this final piece of the puzzle to be constructed.
So it's an add-on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Always part of the initial design intent, but just never able to be completed at the first go. So we really were blessed to be able to come in at the end and construct this final piece. As far as always being a harmonious event, no. So we, it is construction, and through all of our pre-planning and all of the steps we took to ensure that we were doing everything right at the beginning, we had these large foundation holes that we had to dig on this very tight site. And there was a lack of communication between us and one of our other trade partners. And even though with Riley we had transplanted some of these ceremonial and medicinal plantings that we have here back to the nursery for protection, some of the ones that remained ended up getting damaged during this excavation. So at that point, there was a fracture between the construction and the user. The user was able to, let us know that, hey, this is an issue. We were able to react and immediately get in touch with Riley. We were able to do some cleanup and then also ensure that replacement plantings were immediately starting to be grown over at the nursery in the Bitterroot.
Yeah.
So
I think it's really about how you bounce back from that. I mean, issues happen, and then as soon as we saw that, I was here, and before I even left, 20 minutes after seeing it, had called the nursery that because we originally did the Rivers landscaping in 2021 for the American Indian Hall. So all of the plants that were back here, which are the medicinal plants, all native grown plants, really important to this group, and we all had them contract grown. You can't just go to a nursery and buy these plants. They're not readily available.
Yeah.
As soon as we saw that there was an issue and we were going to need to replace more than what we had originally intended, got on the phone with Great Bear Native Plants out of Hamilton, and she knew what we needed right away, got them all growing, actually had them bigger than she thought she was going to by the time we replaced them this fall. And so being able to, have that kind of a connection and know that we'd be able to make it right away, I think that was crucial, because we got it back to where it was going, and then they're native grown plants that were grown specifically for this project right here in Montana.
What are the significance of the plants?
So a lot of plants, tribes will go out and collect, and they use them in either ceremony or for medicine. And there's like a pretty fairly large surge, I would say, across America to get back to more of a holistic living style. And so these plants, and I kind of came on when this was happening. I was made aware because I was onboarding a little bit prior to actually being full-time as the department head. And they worked closely with our interns in the Buffalo Nations And so they were the ones that I think first initially saw the damage that had happened. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you don't necessarily know the significance of it. Right. So I don't think it was necessarily done on purpose and by malicious, if that's the right word.
With malicious intent.
Thanks. But, you know, for somebody to come in and go, oh, hey, wait a second, like these plants mean something to us. These aren't just weeds. These aren't, you know, just common grasses. And to have a conversation and then for the companies to be so responsive was very helpful. And definitely recovering, I think, relationships in that process.
Yeah.
So
is this a new challenge for you in terms of landscaping, you know, starting in 2021? Is that what you said when you began working?
It's
on
when
this
we,
area?
when we originally, you know, we were originally the landscaping contractor for the first go around to get American Indian Hall completed back then. And I was actually bidding this project when I was still a student at Jabs Hall, but I didn't tell the general contractor that at the time.
that's pretty cool, though.
I told him that after we got the project done, and he, you know, the project overall went extremely smooth the first time around. And, you know, when I knew this project was coming up and, you know, Jake and I got together and wanting to bid it, I know Jake was really wanting to make sure that we could be involved because of our prior involvement. And immediately knowing, you know, we might need to go back to Amy in Hamilton and get some extra plants on deck, you know, being able to have that connection. And our nursery partners, both in Kalispell and in Hamilton, they knew the significance of this project back from 2021, and understanding that this has been, you know, a 20-year process at this point for this building alone. And so, being able to have a good team. It's not just, you know, us here in Bozeman. It's everyone that came together to get the project complete, and everyone knowing how complete it was. You know, the boulders came from northern Montana, and I went up there on a road trip to 7 hours away to pick all these out. And you know, the quarry, Paul at the quarry is asking me for pictures once we got complete, because it wasn't just, hey, I need these boulders. It was, we're gonna go pick these out to kind of match the vision that we've got going on.
Yeah. Let's keep talking about the materials. I love the boulder facts. Where did some of these materials come from, whether it's for the arbor itself or the landscaping?
The boulders came from northern Montana. The steel was fabricated and sourced here, right here locally in Bozeman. And the lodgepole pine log wraps also came out of the Bitterroot Valley. And that was one of the interesting parts of this project, is to ensure that, 4 years later, that the materials that we're using out here are matching what was used 4 years ago. So finding the correct powder coat to get this, perfect green and gold, the lodgepole pines to match the existing timbers in the building. So that was a process, but it took the whole team to bring it together. And
it all works. It's so nice. I mean, there's no other building on campus like this one, right? It's the only one with a feather on the roof, as far as I know.
Yeah.
With this lighthouse thing.
TP.
TP. Okay.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the landscaping materials that you used, where they came from.
Yeah. Well, being able to get all the flagstone from Montana as well was huge. It's huge flagstone. That was another challenge in of itself. All of these were not able to be set by hand. We had to set them with a vacuum lifter and a machine.
And some choice curse words.
Yes. Putting a new challenge in there, getting it set in time, being able to have it cut, get the mortar set.
I assume you took video during this process that you could share with me.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, that'd be great.
There's quite a bit, but just being able to set that, and then if you look at all these boulders and how they're placed, they're not light, and we only had this small space to be able to move, and so the idea was that the boulders set in a really natural setting, and we were able to nail that with what the architect at Design 5 had in mind. I'd say being able to get these boulders here to campus was a challenge in of its own. You can't exactly get a 53-foot semi-trailer back over here.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Where's the access?
Or 7 of them.
Or 7 of the semi-trailers.
To campus.
And then timing that and coordinating it so that it didn't, mess with MSU operations and traffic that comes in there. But I've also got a truck coming from 7 hours away who needs to get unloaded and get back on the road to go get, one of 7 more loads that were coming down here from the boulders that we specifically picked out climbing rock faces in northern Montana. So,
Okay.
You know, that whole selection process of the boulders, though, is interesting too. You know, when Riley's up there, you know, this is a quarry where they're blasting rocks out of the side of a mountain, and you know, on the plan set it says I need 2 foot by 3 foot by 8 foot boulder. You know, they don't just go out there and cut a 2 foot by 3 foot. So
Get your handsaw out.
There's a lot of you know, there's a lot of artistic talent that goes into that to make those selections, and then to ensure that those are actually the boulders that arrive here as well.
Absolutely. That, you know, knowing that, you know, some of these, as we're picking them out there in the quarry, and I'm literally climbing through boulders of rocks, or, you know, rocks just stacked all over the place. You know, there's some of them that have these little bird bath dishes in them. One of them, we were able to keep all the moss on it, and so that's making sure that, you know, on our excavator that's setting these, it's got these rubber pads that can grab the boulder instead of, you know, metal teeth that's going to scratch it. And so these,
It acts like insulation, basically?
Yeah,
Is that what
basically. I
you're
mean, the grapple on the excavator has these rubber pads so that it'll squeeze it, and you can pick the boulder up without scratching it. Whereas normally, you know, if you got a bucket and a thumb, it's just the 2 metal teeth that are going to be grabbing onto it and scratching it. And so being able to get these in place with either the forklift or the excavator, and making sure that they didn't get you know, any more damage on them or scratches that they came from when they're coming down from the mountain. But the boulder part was one of the most fun parts, and being able to have the grapple that spins the boulders around or lays one of these on its side. And all the architect said is just make sure that no college kids can push these things over. And unless you get the whole D line out here, I don't think they're going to push these things over.
It's it's high stakes Tetris a little bit, right?
Pretty much.
So many challenges, headaches, disagreements. Was there a moment where you kind of sat back and said, "Oh, okay, wow, this is going to work"?
Well,
Yeah.
I think these guys would probably best answer that. But from my perspective, you know, I was onboarding, like I said, and so when I would come into the building, I would peek through basically, you know, the drum room, the teepee, to see how it was progressing. But it, you know, it was really cool to watch it through time, to see it coming together.
Yeah.
You know, the vision actually coming together.
Was there a moment that stands out to you?
You know,
Okay.
truly, we never had a point where it felt like it was falling apart.
Okay.
It just, the team that we had assembled at the outset of this, including the design team and the project management from the university, it was just a really strong team. So there was never a moment when we said, "Oh, geez, man, we're off the rails. This isn't going to get done, or this isn't how it's going to, you know, supposed to look." You know, we were pretty methodical in the preparation for this. So even with the slight hiccup at the beginning, you know, with some of the plantings, it really was a smooth project. It finished on time, on budget, and you know, we have a pretty happy user here. So that's really kind of the litmus test of, hey, how did the project go? So I have to admit, at the end, when the fences came down, and we came out here the next morning early to make sure everything was cleaned up, and we had the big full harvest moon coming up, and the light coming in, and the lights coming out of the drum here. It was gorgeous. And at that point, I did take about 30 seconds and close my eyes and really enjoy the space.
Yeah. Any cultural takeaways from this experience?
Yeah, certainly. You know, especially, again, this project has already meant so much to us at our company anyway, knowing how much it meant to the end user. We do a lot of projects, and it's a nice thing about landscaping is everyone's going to like it one way or another, and you get to use it. It's one of the most functional things, and I knew that was one of the most important things from this building. And so being able to come back and, you know, we worked here all summer, extremely hard, tenuous work, but really got to be a labor of love for our team. And hats off to our guys that when this project was complete, and then I shared everything that was talked about on Monday at the grand opening. It shows them, you know, this is why we do this, and we get to see just how much a project like this means to someone. It's not, you know, just any kind of landscape. There's a reason that there's a fire boulder. There's a reason that, you know, we've got the arbor and all the flagstone, and it's usable. So it's one of the most impactful projects we've ever been able to be a part of, and our team, that hard work paying off. They know how much this means, and equally means as much to them being able to be a part of it.
And you talk about functional space. You're growing food back there.
Yeah.
Also, it doesn't get more functional than that.
Exactly. Yeah.
How much did you have to do with that, the garden?
Yeah, we that was back in 2021. I have pictures of us tilling up the garden and importing the specified garden soil and everything that we need to do. So we're able to do that. But the garden growing itself, that is all the Buffalo Nation, and that those things have taken off in there. And I actually had to go in there to access one of the irrigation controls, and just seeing how well everything is growing in there was really cool.
What are you growing back there?
Oh
Dr.
man,
Hecker?
they grow a lot of stuff back there. So they, I know they grow squash and beans and corn, and they grow that traditionally the way that it used to be grown, in a set versus like in rows. And I know that they have a lot of vegetables back there. They have some fruit. Yeah, there's a lot back there.
Are we getting credit for doing this?
So I know they had just done a harvest before it got really cold, the Buffalo Nation's interns. And when we were celebrating Indigenous Peoples Day here, Jill Raymaker, her and her team, the Buffalo Nations, they went to Great Falls and delivered a bunch of food to some food banks there.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. So
It's an incredible group, the Buffalo Nations
Yeah.
interns. During the project, actually, we had the honor of having them come out and actually help with replace some of the plantings and to transplant some of them too, and just to work side by side with that group was incredible. They're a very dedicated group.
I want to ask about the students in the department. This is a question that somebody else wanted me to ask. What percentage of your students majoring in Native Studies are non-Indigenous?
I think a fairly large number.
Really?
Yeah. So we don't have a major, but we do have a minor.
Okay.
So we have a minor, and we have a master's, and we have a certificate, and we have a couple certificates actually. So our minor, I would say that there's a large majority who are non-native. So I think what happens is a student will take a Native American Studies class to get like a diversity credit, for example, and they realize, wow, I'm actually really interested in this, and so then they take another, right? Because they learn, oh, there's other courses. I just kind of got a snippet, I got a taste of it. I'd like to learn some more. So then once they do one or two, then they realize, oh my gosh, I have a minor almost. I might as well take what's left.
Yeah.
And so I think that's how it progresses.
Just got to get them in the door.
Yeah, just get them in the door, And the introduction to Native American Studies class is the one that I teach. And at the beginning of the semester, I think I had 160 students enrolled. The cap is 200, so it is a fairly large class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, I think, their first, I got to take a class. I'll just take this, and then realize, well, I kind of like this. I'm actually learning something different.
And the state of Montana actually mandates Native Studies for younger kids, not college age.
Yep. So Indigenous education, it's called IFA, Indian Education for All.
Okay.
I want to call it, I get wrapped up with the word Indigenous a lot, so I had to think for a second. Yeah, so IFA is mandated for K-12, but it's not necessarily a K-12 initiative. So this is ongoing education,
Yeah.
right? It goes into K-16 and beyond. So we take that up here at MSU as part of our charge. So when we create our classes, that is something that we look at as well.
I think it's great, and I just wonder what we can do to sort of enlighten other states. It's one of the few things that Montana does well,
Yeah.
as a pioneer, basically.
Well, and I've had students come up to me in class, and they've come from other states, and they're just surprised that we have this here, and that there's so much support from Montana in this foray of education to make sure that people are aware. And they've told me, I wish our state had something like
Right?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Oregon, Illinois, Minnesota, and Montana. That's it.
Oh, interesting.
Which is wild.
Yeah.
All right, last question. This goes to Riley. Are we all eventually going to surrender to Canadian Thistle?
I'll have to have you talk with David Castro, who runs our maintenance department, and he can tell you how to combat that. I would say no. You don't have to surrender to
What
the.
about
Do you have any
knapweed?
tips? It's out of control.
Yeah. No, I don't have any tips and be put on the spot. So that's why I'm going to refer you to the experts at River Landscaping and
All right.
David Castro. Who
We'll have
can,
to have a
do
follow-up
that.
interview. Do you want to talk about xeriscaping?
Yeah, I can do that.
Do that. What is xeriscaping?
Well, xeriscaping, in essence, I mean, is a little bit kind of like what we did here.
Yeah.
Xeriscaping kind of refers to less turf grass, which turf grass is extremely water hungry. And so that's actually one of the coolest things about AAH that it's been really cool they've been able to maintain. If you look around, it's all native grass.
Wouldn't it be water thirsty, not water hungry?
Water thirsty.
I'm sorry, Riley.
It's been a while since I got out of college, but yeah, but being able to have all of the native grass that they keep tall here, where it looks like you're walking into a more native setting rather than a perfectly manicured bluegrass lawn, I think is really cool. And then.
But does this still require watering?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But less.
Absolutely, it requires a lot less.
Okay.
Anymore, honestly, the tall grass out here, the native grass, doesn't need to get watered throughout the summer. Whereas like your bluegrass, like you've got to water it if you want to keep it, green. But all the plants that have been installed, they're really juvenile right now. But after a couple of years, you can really back off the watering, and they're going to grow, just like they would out in nature. Grow all together. This whole back area back here, there's almost 2,000 plants in there, and it's all going to grow together very, very quickly. And so that's kind of what xeriscaping is using less water thirsty grass, and incorporating a lot more plants that are visually appealing, flagstone, hardscaping, things of that sort.
How is this all going to mature in the upcoming, 5-10 years?
So it's all actually designed and planted in waves. You have waves of sweetgrass, and you have waves of echinacea in there, sumac. There's some funny plant names out there, little pink pussy toes.
Oh.
So you have a bunch of those that are going to grow in. Spotted gay feather is going to grow in. All of the other, there's a little blue stem grass. And so watching that all grow in together, I think is going to be really cool. Because if you know what you're looking at on a plan set, you can see that it's how they designed it. It's got all these waves of different plants, which is a lot more unique than, say, a modern house. You're just planting grasses in a row and you're planting shrubs in a row, and this is a little bit more freeform.
Artistic.
Absolutely.
That's how it sounds. All right, we're done with questions. You guys are going to talk a lot less now because this little bit of horseplay we're going to do here is called Say Less. All right, it's based on the trope. There's a trope that Indian chiefs speak very little, right? Is there any accuracy to that?
I think somewhat, yes. There's
Yes.
this like
a stoicism.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and I think that has to do with the audience that you're with.
Okay.
So if you get natives with natives, they talk a lot.
If you say.
So yeah. So
right.
from a non-native perspective, it does look like that because yeah.
Well, you're all talking to a white guy right here, so I want you to go stoic on me. I'm going to ask you questions, and I want you to give me one-word answers if possible.
Okay.
Okay? We'll start with Riley. What plant should people in Montana not even bother putting in the ground?
Aspens.
Aspens. Ooh, I like that answer. Dr. Hecker. How can our community better support the Native Studies Department?
Engaging.
Engaging. All right, I like that. Riley, as a landscaper, what is your secret weapon?
Excavator.
All right. Similar. Jake, what material would you eliminate from your jobs if you could?
Concrete.
Oh, interesting. All right. Dr. Hecker, what do you wish college students did more?
Attend.
That says a lot. Riley, what's the best way to clean dirt from under your fingernails?
Pocket knife.
It's 2 words. What tool changed your life, Jake?
A theodolite.
Oh my God, what? Theodolite? You're just going to make me look it up at some point? What is
Said
it?
I had a one-word answer.
Tell me what that is. It can't be a word that I don't
sir.
know. None of us know what theodolite is. What is it?
You can move along.
We'll circle back at the end.
Okay.
I need to know, though. Dr. Hecker, if you couldn't work at MSU, what would you do for a living?
Rancher.
Rancher. That's awesome. What does snow mean for landscaping?
Sinest.
Sinest? Okay. What does snow mean for construction?
Shovels.
Oh. All right, and the last one's for all three of you. How does it feel being under the completed Arbor?
Great.
Satisfying.
Peaceful.
Outstanding. Tell me what a theodolite is.
It's a surveying tool. It's a old school surveying and grade level tool with a.
Got it.
side.
Okay.
When you asked what material you wanted to eliminate, I thought he was going to say landscaping.
You know, it was too easy.
Is
of
that a
shot,
material?
Funny.
And what about Sinest? What is that?
It's essentially, going dormant. What the plants are doing, going dormant.
Okay. Go to
Right,
sleep.
so Riley just taught me that word 2 weeks ago.
I
So I was able to nod very knowingly when he said SNES. Oh, it's dormant. Yeah.
This
of
is
course.
great. This is why I do this, to learn. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for giving me your time out here and for all the work that went into doing this.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is great.
Thank you.